welcome to this, and this will be me talking a little bit about ROH on HDNet. So ROH Brazil's page has apparently been taken down, so from what I understand. So from that, I'm going to try to be a little bit more descriptive when I do these, though I'm not going to be very good at that. That's not kind of my thing. But hopefully, I know Sanders Robin is, he's doing these too. He's reviewing ROH as well. Hopefully someone else does it as well that's a little bit better at doing actual recaps. I'm not necessarily a recapper. So hopefully somebody does that, because I know without everyone being able to see it easily, that would probably help a lot of people out. And not that there's always a lot of storyline progression, but there is some. There was some on this show, and that was good. So, but anyway, so I'm going to try to be a little bit more descriptive. Can't make a promise that I will, because I'll probably just get into what I usually do anyway. So, there you go. But let's get started. So, we started off the show with a recap of Davey versus Tyler, making, pretty much saying, this was a big deal, and it was a big deal, and last week's show was really great. For those of you that have not seen it, hopefully at some point you will be able to see it, because it was a really, really great show. This show was not quite as good as that show, but it was still a good show. This was a very good show, I would say. And then I highlighted the fact that we were going to get the Briscoes versus the Kings of Wrestling later on in the show, and this would be the Briscoes' last chance at the championships while the Kings of Wrestling had them. So that was a nice little snippet there. So the first match we got was a tag match. We got nothing. I think every match we had on here was a tag match. Yeah, every match we had on here was a tag match, and that was a little weird. I like tag matches, but I could see somebody having a little bit of tag match overload, particularly given the fact that the main event, which was a pretty important main event, was a tag match as well, so that was a little weird. But anyways, so we started off with the Embassy taking on Grizzly Redwood and Andy Right Leg Ridge, who was not wearing blue pants, unfortunately. Only the people that were probably in Houston last year for WrestleMania 25 would get that. But yeah, he was not wearing blue pants. I was sad. But anyways, they had a match. It was okay. It was a passable, I would say, television match. They went out there, they did their thing. The ending was pretty good, with Necro basically hitting the punch as Grizzly was thrown to the outside. It was pretty much more of a brawl. He had some, your basic Necro stuff, and you had your Necro stuff, not really your Stevens stuff. I like Eric Stevens. My problem with Stevens is this, that the guy has leaned down, and leaning down for him was not a good. He was much better when he was bulked up, when he was thick. He looked intimidating. I'm sure somebody told him, oh, you're not that tall, so why are you trying to look like a big guy and wrestle like a big guy? The thing is, Taz did that. Taz isn't a big guy. You don't necessarily have to be a big guy to be seen as a big guy. You just have to have that presence. And he definitely had that presence, particularly on here. And he looked good. He looked different. He doesn't do that anymore. He's still good in the ring, but he's missing that thing, and I think that's why. But match was okay and was fairly decent opener. Then we got a backstage promo with Kings of Wrestling. They were talking about the Briscoes, also talking a little bit, and they were starting to set kind of the seeds for Kings of Wrestling versus the American Wolves throughout the night as well, which that was good to see. Then we got the Super Smash Brothers taking on the House of Truth, and a better match than the opener. Another tag match. This was pretty good. I'm not too big on the Super Smash Brothers and ROH, just because to me the gimmick to me just isn't ROH. I like the guys and I think they're good. It's there's just something about them in ROH just doesn't feel right to me. But all their matches have been pretty good, and this was a good match, so I'm not going to complain there. Then we got some more video packages, the Briscoes and Kings of Wrestling kind of stuff, and then we got a Homicide promo, and I like Homicide. I think Homicide is good on the mic, but for whatever reason, when they did these promos, he just I don't know, he just doesn't come across as homicide to me. But we'll wait and see. We got some Steen and Carino stuff to set up for next week, where we're going to get Steen and Carino taking on Cabana and Generico in a steel cage. So that should be good. And that all led to the main event, which would be the Kings of Wrestling taking on the Briscoes in their last chance. Was this their best match? No, but this was still a very good TV match. Would probably, easily, people would love a match like this on either Raw or Impact, I would say, quite easily. It was a good long match as you get with any ROH show. They all did their spots. They did everything. Pretty much the same match they've been having. A lot of the same stuff. The ending was the only thing different. We had Hagedorn kick one of the Briscoes, I think it was Mark, in the balls. And that led to the finish, but that also led to Papa Briscoe getting into the match. And if you've never seen Papa Briscoe or Daddy Briscoe or Mr. Briscoe, whatever you want to call him, he is quite awesome. I mean, you could not devise this character. I mean, quite honestly, if you in your mind said, okay, we need a Daddy Briscoe character, we need a guy that you see him and you go, yes, this is the man that somehow spawned Jay and Mark. This is the guy you would get. It is so great, it's not even funny. But he came out and got on the mic. He's actually pretty good on the mic as well. I mean, he's a Briscoe. It's just what it is. And for those of you who don't know, this is basically leading up to their final battle match, which is going to be the Briscoes with Daddy Briscoe taking on the Kings of Wrestling with Shane Hagedorn. So that's where all this kind of led up to. But the Briscoes got their last chance at the Kings of Wrestling and failed. So, tag team wise, I guess that means we're going to get, Kings of Wrestling versus the American Wolves, and that should be awesome. Really good main event. Better than the other two matches that were on the show, but the other two matches were nothing to really, go about. But the match, I thought the show was fairly good. This is the type of show, and I seem to say this a lot when I talk about Ring of Honor, but this is the type of show I would love to see them continually kind of do. This is kind of the goal show, I would say. This is the show that I think if they did, they could get a lot of people wanting to watch the show. I know a lot of people aren't going to be able to see it now, see the show, because there is no ROH Brazil, and I understand that. But hopefully you're going to be able to find it somewhere. It is available on the net through various means. I'm not going to come on here and explain how to do that. But it is on the net through various means, and if you truly search, you will probably find it somewhere out there. I know that it's streamed on Fridays, so there's that way, and I'm sure that you can download it somewhere as well. So it is, if you want to watch it, it is you might have to look for it, but if you stream any of the pay-per-views, it's going to be a lot. Very much the same way I know there are a lot of people stream Raw and SmackDown and all the other wrestling TV shows as well. So I know that's nothing new to some people out there. But anyways, good show. I definitely would say, check it out, particularly the main event, which I thought was pretty good and is leading to Final Battle. With that match, and of course that's kind of the wacky match that we're getting at Final Battle. But again, if you've never seen Papa Briscoe, this is a good kind of way to get introduced to him after his first introduction. So there is that. So with that, I am out. Have a good one, and late.